A nation divided, a president under pressure, and a decision sparking protests across the country. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has announced that martial law will soon be lifted after the country's parliament passed a motion demanding its removal. This decision follows weeks of political turmoil, protests, and an escalating clash between the government and opposition forces. But how did South Korea find itself in this state of unrest? Let's rewind. Since taking office in 2022, President Yoon has faced significant challenges. With a parliament dominated by opposition parties, pushing through his administration's policies has been an uphill battle. Despite his campaign promises of uniting the country and fostering economic stability, Yoon's tenure has been marked by growing divisions. Earlier this week, in a surprise live address to the nation, Yoon defended his controversial decision to impose martial law. He described the move as a necessary measure to safeguard South Korea's liberal democracy from what he called the threats posed by North Korea's communist forces and internal anti-static elements. These are strong words, but for many South Koreans, they were not convincing enough to justify such a drastic action. Martial law is no ordinary policy. It effectively suspends normal democratic processes. Under its terms, as reported by Yonhap news agency, activities by political parties and the national parliament were temporarily halted. The media, publishers, and even online platforms fell under strict government control, overseen by the Martial Law Command. Critics argued that these measures went beyond addressing national security concerns and ventured into silencing dissent. The decision to declare martial law sent shockwaves across the nation. Images of military checkpoints, curfews, and government crackdowns brought back painful memories for older generations who lived through South Korea's era of authoritarian rule. For younger citizens, it was a stark reminder of how fragile democracy can be, even in one of Asia's most advanced nations. As news of the martial law declaration spread, the streets outside Parliament quickly became a hub of resistance. Live footage showed hundreds of citizens gathering, holding banners, chanting slogans, and demanding that President Yoon step down. Protesters accused him of overstepping his authority and undermining the democratic institutions that generations had fought to establish. One protester, a 23-year-old university student, shared her thoughts with reporters. "This is not just about politics. It's about our freedom, our right to speak out, and the future of our country. Martial law has no place in modern South Korea." The anger was palpable, yet Yoon remained resolute in his initial stance. In his live address, he warned that failure to act decisively against what he described as anti-state forces could leave South Korea vulnerable to both internal and external threats. The turning point came when the National Assembly, in a rare display of bipartisan unity, passed a motion requiring the martial law order to be lifted. Lawmakers argued that the president had overstepped his constitutional authority, and the decision was harming South Korea's international reputation as a stable democracy. Hours after the motion was passed, Yoon announced his intention to comply. In a televised address, he appeared subdued, but maintained that his actions were justified. He stated, "I have always acted in the best interests of South Korea. While I will lift martial law as directed by Parliament, I urge all citizens to remain vigilant. The threats to our nation are real and require unwavering commitment." As South Korea takes its next steps, the focus now shifts to rebuilding trust between its citizens, political leaders, and institutions. The protests, the debates, and the decisions made over the past weeks have left an indelible mark on the nation. But one thing is clear: South Koreans are not passive observers. They are active participants in shaping their democracy, even in the face of extraordinary challenges. The question remains, what lies ahead for this resilient nation and its embattled leader? His is a pivotal moment for South Korea. We'll keep you informed as history is written before our eyes. Thank you for listening.